This is fire! Welcome to my home studio, everyone. We're releasing a Future Rave remix of Titanium that we made together with my friend Morten. And Titanium is one of the biggest records of my career. But I thought that today it would be cool to make a simplified version, not using any expensive plugin, and just all the basic stuff that you can find in Ableton. I'm also going to create each synth sound from scratch. So now that my glasses are on, I'm gonna drag the acapella here. The tempo is 126. The key is C minor. You shut it out, but I can't hear a word you say. So let's say that you would not know this and you would want to know the key. Take the acapella, drag it into mixing key. It's going to analyze the key and the tempo for you. Not only this is amazing for DJs, but also for a producer. This became a standard in every production studio. So 5A, C minor, and the tempo is wrong because it's an a cappella, but I know it's 126. Let's look at this a cappella. You shut it out, but I can't hear a word you say. All right, so we see that the a cappella is correct. I moved it to 33 just because it's more logical. One very, very important element of Future Rave, it needs to feel dreamy. I'm gonna add some reverb and some delays to make it a little trippy. Let's start with a reverb. I'm gonna use only stuff from Ableton. You shut it out, but I can't hear a word you say. Let's add a delay now to make it even trippier. You shut it out, but I can't hear. Yeah. So we're gonna go through all the different keys of Future Rave. If you listen to all the vocals, they're very dreamy, so you see there's a lot of effect on it. It's the combination of chord changes and melodies with most of the time one note that stays through the whole record. This is something that I really love that creates tension. Tension is very important in dance music. I'm gonna use a sample. I'm gonna use a part of this. Just that little part, I think it's kind of trippy and I like it a lot. I'm gonna copy this. So now I have a loop. I need to almost create a pad out of this. So in order to achieve this, I'm going to start with a EQ as always to clean it and get rid of the frequencies I don't need. I'm going to use a delay. I want to put a lot of feedback. I want it to be messy on purpose. Let me see if I do it twice as fast, how I would feel. Yeah, I think it's better. And now I'm gonna add reverb to that. High quality. So now it's starting to feel more of an atmosphere, and that's what I wanted. Now let's see if I put it together with the vocals. This one should be not as loud, maybe. Let me see. You shut it out, but I can't hear a word you say. Let me see if I make the reverb longer. You shut it out, but I can't hear a word you better. Say. Cut the lows. Cut the lows. Alright, so you see now it has that dreamy feeling. I like it. The most traditional arrangement in dance music, including future rave, would be to have a breakdown with chord changes and the song itself, and then a build-up to create tension, and then what we call a drop. This is what make people dance. Everything in music is this balance between moments where you stay on one chord and moments where you have chord changes. Moments that are very quiet and moments that are very loud. And if everything is loud constantly, what it's gonna do is exhaust you. I'm now gonna start with the singing moment where we can hear this beautiful song of Siga. So in this case, the chords were pop, because this is a pop song, and I'm gonna try to find new chords to make it sound edgier. Also, I'm gonna play less of them at the beginning to create some tension. For all the sounds, I'm gonna use Serum, that is probably the most standard synth today, and I'm gonna create the sounds from scratch. Most of the sounds that we use in future rave are saws, by the way. Okay. So I'm going to start with this big rave sound. Detune a little bit. Add some distortion. I like this one better. Oh yeah. I'm gonna add some saturation, even more. Yeah, it's dirty now. This is what we want. I'm gonna send this to a bus. I could put some reverb on the same track, but I like to send it. I'm gonna show you why. You hear the reverb. Okay. So one very important trick that we use all the time in future rave is this one. I'm gonna trigger the side chain. I'm calling this sound rave. Most people always use the impulse or the kick to trigger sidechain. It can be used also to duck elements. It can be used on vocals. It can be used in so many ways. Here, I'm gonna use the sound itself to trigger the reverb. So I'm putting down the threshold. Here you go. I think it's taking a little bit too much time. I'm gonna move the release time so that I can hear the reverb coming faster. Here you go. This is a very important concept to understand. The release is telling you how long you want the compressor to work when you trigger it. So now we're gonna create the foundation of what would be the chords. It's only going to be a bass, but it's the equivalent. It's those changes that are going to create the emotion. And I'm not going to use the same chord changes that I was using in the original 10 years ago, because I want to create something that is more adapted to future rave. I'm going to put in a scale mode, so it's hiding all the notes that I'm not allowed to play. So I'm starting with the fundamental, which is C. You go from this is one of my favorite chord change, and it's working really, really well here. In the second part of the verse, I want to create an evolution. I'm going to put more notes so that you feel a kind of build up. I think I'm going to go back to the A. Yeah. So I'm gonna finish with the fundamental right before the build-up. At some point, you need the person to understand in what key we are. So what I'm gonna do is copy this and create a new bass sound. Serum. I'm gonna use Evolution that I like. Okay, I need a lot of, yes, dirty, but I wanna give it a little bit of an analog feel. That's why I'm doing detune like that. So it feels like the sound is moving a little bit. I need to filter it. It's not bad actually. Put a little bit of drive. What I'm gonna do is use the exact same notes I copied the part before. I'm just gonna make them longer. Let's see how this feels. I might even EQ it a little bit, because maybe we don't need for it to be like that. And I'm gonna give it a little more 4K. Oh yeah. Yeah, way better. I want more impact every time that is hitting. I'm gonna put a kick on the top. This is nice, but I don't need that click. I need just the lower part of the kick. There you go. And let's add some effects to that. So I'm going to my samples and I need some impacts. That's perfect. So let's see. Now it's starting to really hit. Now, what I'm gonna do, I wanna add a little extra emotion on this second part. First, let's make the sound and then I explain you. So saying I'm starting with a so again. To do chords, I'm gonna need multiple voices. I'm gonna use a second oscillator. I need to filter this. So I'm selecting here A and B, so it filters both. Sending it to get a little bit of reverb. Maybe a little more voices. It's nicer. Basically, creating a chord is always based on the fundamental, but if you hear the fundamental is C, but then you have notes that you can play at the same time, like a third, a fourth, a fifth. The fifth, 5, is really the magic number in music. My bass is playing the F. I'm gonna try something to see if it feels good. I'm gonna go 5, a fifth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the normal way. This is me trying to be smart. I love it. So now I'm going to select all those notes. Actually, I don't even need the bass anymore, so I'm just going to select this one. Now we're going to create chords. A chord is simply, what we call a triad, is simply 3 notes being played at the same time. So if we play a chord of C minor, that's 1, 2, 3 notes, and creates an emotion, knowing that the scale in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I'm going to select everything and I'm going to create normal chords. Okay, this is pretty cool, but I want to be a little smarter. There are different levels, let's say in music. You can play, let's say, a seventh. In this case, that would be this. Or you can play a ninth. And that sounds very cool. And the ninth, in my opinion, feels very emotional. This is something I really, really love. This one, I'm gonna create a seventh. There's a trick that is very cool also, is to use the third in a different place. That's called an inversion. So instead of playing my third here, I'm going to play it here. I like it. I'm going to move the C up because I'm missing low frequencies. So I'm going to create a ninth. So this is very time consuming because honestly you need to try to see how it feels. When it comes to chords, it's a little bit complicated. I really invite you to learn music theory if you're becoming a producer. If you are a music producer, you need to understand music. Okay, so we have achieved the main part. This is probably the longest thing to do because it's very musical, and now we're gonna do the build-up. So now we need to give an indication that we are going to the next important moment. I'm gonna put a big impact. Huge impact. In the case of this remix, what we did with Morten is we're going straight into the melody from the breakdown. It's a little bit unusual, so I have the melody in my head. Let me see the length that I need. Yeah, that's what it is. So the Future Rave lead is actually pretty basic, to be honest. It's a saw with a lot of reverb. I want a lot of attack. Okay, not bad. Let's put a multi-compressor on this. Actually, let's try an OTT on this one. Yeah, I like it like that. I can make it even crazier. And now the main thing, really, I'm sending this to a bus. And in this bus, I have a reverb, I have a delay, and I'm gonna do the Future Rave trick. I'm gonna use this lead to trigger itself, basically, to trigger the compression on the reverb. That's it. I also want to put a reverb on. Let's put an EQ. I really want it to hit, and I'm not completely there. I'm going to add a noise. And let's do a little trick. That's a little bit of a secret trick. I'm going to put this to 36. Go down 2 octaves. Okay, and now I'm going to take this envelope and affect it to the pitch. So if I move the decay, it's going to change the pitch, as you can hear. So I'm putting everything to 0, and also the attack, because I'm doing this to create attack. And this needs to be really, really discreet, without, with. Now we have a lot of attack. Let's now create the melody. So the first thing I want to do is to create a rhythm. So I'm going to choose a grid of 32. I'm going to repeat this, Command D. What I'm going to do is to try to change the rhythm at the end to feel like it's finishing, it's closing before starting again. This is my rhythmic foundation, and I'm going to try to make it more interesting by changing some of the notes. I liked it at the beginning. I'm moving this up, and I'm going to move this one down. Yes, we got it. I'm going to put a filter on it and create an automation. So I'm just touching here, the frequency, touching the A, it's opening automation, A as in automation. So it's going to start a little bit low and go up all the way. It's gonna be fire, man. Let's add some drums to build it up. Add some more claps. So those are sounds that I saved already to be faster. We want to create a build up, right? In the effects, I'm going to add. This is just a rise. It's nice, but I want to add something to it. I want to create a sound that is pitching up. Go. So what I'm going to do is use this LFO and affect it to the pitch. I think we have something pretty good. Let's add some more elements into this build-up. Let's do a traditional snare roll. And creating anticipation by making it go faster and faster. Like that. I'm going to show you a trick that is very, very useful. This is kind of low cut and at the same time reverb and at the same time delays, and you just have to move one knob. It's really incredible. So let me show you how it feels. So that's too much, but you understand. So this I put on the master, and I'm going to do an automation here. Is adding kind of confusion and is making the sound thin. After this, when you're gonna come with a kick, a bass, and the melody, of course, when you feel that kick and that bass coming in, it's gonna feel huge. But if right before we were like full of bass, you wouldn't feel this impact of the kick and the bass. Now, let's get into the drop. Now we're gonna use the traditional way of side chaining to make it pump. This is not part of Ableton, but I think it's very cool. It's from my friend Nicky Romero. He was working on the new version. I was telling him, like, what would be amazing is to be able to make the kick and the bass or whatever we're ducking communicate, and he's done it for me, and it's really like life-changing. What you do is you use the kick start and you say, okay, I want to see the kick. So it makes it easier, of course, for me to know where we should duck. I see the kick here and I can just move to have a perfect side chain right at the end of the kick. I think I prefer having more pump. Okay, let's make a bass line. There you go. I'm gonna use actually a different envelope and use the envelope to affect the filter. So now I'm shaping the filter. I'm gonna add some drive. That sounds pretty good. Now we created the sound, let's create a pattern. I'm gonna make it super basic. I wanna loop this. Of course, we need a side chain on this. Not bad. Yeah, make it a little more discreet like this. I'm going to cheat a little bit and do an automation on the volume of the master because I want it to really hit hard when it's coming in. We're coming in at 0. I'm just going to reduce a little bit. Not too much, maybe 2 dB. Oh yeah. See the difference? I just moved a little bit, only 2 dB. I took it down right before dropping. You don't really feel it, but when it comes back, it feels super loud. So now I'm gonna double this and I'm gonna repeat I am titanium. We don't want the drop to be always the same. You need to feel like constantly something is happening so that it's not boring, because we're keeping the same melody all the time, which is why it's hypnotic, but you also want to always have small evolutions. I'm gonna do one trick that I really like. I'm going to add a reverb. This is a very strong reverb that I'm gonna use. It's going to be simply automated on off. I'm using this reverb to feel like it's sucking in right before the 1. I'm gonna make it extreme so that you can hear it. Yeah, very cool. Now I just need to add some drums to create diversity, a feeling of evolution within the drop. We need some high frequency elements. Get me a little loop. That one is super dirty, I like it a lot. I also always use ride. Yeah, I'm gonna use this one. Let me program one hi-hat. So that's it. We have the main elements, the breakdown, the build-up, and the drop of a typical Future Rave remix. This is Titanium, one of my favorite records of my entire career. Of course, this is not mixed. It would take way more time to mix it all. I'm gonna listen. I'm going to change a little bit the levels, the reverbs, the sidechain, and only at the end do the mastering. DJ Mag, thank you very much for watching this. I hope it was interesting. As you saw, we started during daylight and we ended up at night. I'm excited that I could share this moment with you. I hope you could learn a few tricks, but most of all, I hope that if you young, maybe a teenager, and you're making music at home, this could help you. Me and Morten, we want to share this movement with everyone. I'm not hiding my secrets, I'm sharing it with the world, and I want our sound to be everywhere on the planet, because I genuinely think that there's nothing better to play for a DJ right now. Lots of love. Thank you all for the people that voted for me last year and made me the #1 DJ in the world. I love you guys.